Hello and welcome back to Liberal Breakdown. Let's talk about yet another controversy in the Trump administration. This time, it's about a massive security blunder, an accidental leak of plans for a U.S. airstrike against the Houthis in Yemen. And yet, somehow, no one is being held accountable. So here's the deal. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz accidentally added journalist Jeffrey Goldberg from The Atlantic to a private Signal group chat. This chat wasn't just casual banter, it was top officials discussing an upcoming military operation. And then, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth outright shared details about how the strike would unfold. Once the leak was exposed, The Atlantic published a piece on it, which, understandably, shocked the national security community.
Kristen, you just spoke to President Trump about the controversy surrounding Waltz and Hegseth's group chat on Signal. What did he tell you?
Jose, in a phone interview that lasted just over 10 minutes, President Trump was defiant in defending Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, who played key roles in that Signal text chain in which attack plans were discussed. The president calling the matter fake news and arguing the strikes against the Houthi rebels in Yemen were successful. Now, notably, Mr. Trump said he had read the group text exchange. I pressed the president about reports that he'd been advised to fire Mike Waltz. He responded, "I don't fire people because of fake news and because of witch hunts."
And what does Trump do? He shrugs it off, calls it fake news and a witch hunt, and says he won't fire anyone over it. No consequences, no accountability. Now, let's be honest. Imagine for just 1 second that this had happened under the Biden administration. If a Biden official had leaked classified military strategy in a Signal group chat, do you think Trump and his supporters would be this forgiving? No way. Trump would be on every platform screaming for immediate resignations, calling it treason, and probably making ridiculous claims about national security being compromised. But when it happens on his watch, suddenly it's no big deal. Suddenly it's a witch hunt. The hypocrisy is stunning. This isn't just about politics. This is about national security. The fact that the U.S. government's military plans were being discussed on an unsecured group chat in the first place is alarming. And the fact that the administration's response is essentially, oops, oh well, is even worse. How is this responsible leadership? How is this putting America first? At the end of the day, this is a blatant example of Trump's double standard. When his team makes a reckless mistake that could jeopardize military operations, he looks the other way. But if this were Biden, he'd be calling it the scandal of the century. Participants of the Signal chat even lied in the courtroom. However, after the judges obtained the leaked Signal chat, they questioned them again, and they got exposed.
Now, questions for the Pentagon leader are growing over a report in the Wall Street Journal that Hegseth brought his wife to 2 meetings with foreign military counterparts where sensitive information was discussed, according to multiple people who were present or had knowledge of the discussions. Back in early March, cameras captured Jennifer Hegseth entering the room of a bilateral meeting with the United Kingdom's Secretary of Defense. The Pentagon released a photo showing her seated in the room. That meeting coming just a day after the United States said it was ending intelligence sharing with Ukraine. Neither the White House nor the Pentagon have responded to requests for comment about why Jennifer Hegseth may have attended sensitive meetings or what her level of security clearance is.
All right, folks, we need to talk about yet another disturbing development in the Trump administration. Pete Hegseth, Trump's hand-picked Secretary of Defense, has been bringing his wife to high-level military meetings where sensitive, even classified information is being discussed. And no, she doesn't have a security clearance. No, she's not a defense official. She's a former Fox News producer with zero business being in that room. So what's going on here? According to multiple reports, Hegseth's wife, Jennifer Hegseth, has attended several high-level defense meetings, including one at the Pentagon with the UK Defense Secretary and another NATO meeting in Brussels. This is national security we're talking about. These meetings are meant for officials with the highest security clearances, and yet somehow Hegseth's wife was allowed to sit in on them like it was bring your spouse to work day. And guess what? His brother Philip Hegseth has also been spotted at official events. This is straight up nepotism and a blatant disregard for national security protocols. This isn't just about one person. It's about a pattern of corruption in this administration. Let's not forget, Hegseth is already under fire for the Signal chat leak, where top officials accidentally sent their military strike plans to a journalist. And now, on top of that mess, he's bringing his wife into classified meetings? This is reckless, dangerous, and completely unprofessional. If national security actually mattered to Trump and his team, this wouldn't be happening. At the end of the day, national security is not a family business. This is about power, it's about corruption, and it's about Republicans playing by one set of rules for themselves while demanding another for everyone else. Anyways, let's take a look at another sequence of what's going on in Greenland and what the Trump administration is doing again.
Let's get into this. Donald Trump's last phrase there, we have to have Greenland. Thinking about that, how do you interpret the messages coming from the White House? How do you think the government of Greenland is interpreting them?
Well, the government of Greenland and the people of Greenland don't like those statements. Neither does the government of Denmark. Polls show very clearly they don't want to be independent. They don't want to be part of the United States. But secondly, and I think most importantly, the president needs to explain to us why we need Greenland. Where did this come from? Why all of a sudden it's categorically his number one foreign policy priority for international security, not even American security, that we have to take Greenland? We don't need Greenland. We have soldiers there. You just showed them. If we want to buy minerals from there, we can buy the minerals. We don't need to seize them. And I've just never heard the president or the vice president or anybody on this team explain to the American people why this is such a vital national security interest now.
Every day I wake up, the tension with Trump and Greenland grows higher in a way I don't like to see it, and probably most of us. Former U.S. Ambassador to Denmark, Rufus Gifford, just put it plainly. There's a real paradox in what Trump and Vice President JD Vance are doing. And honestly, he's absolutely right. Let's break it down. So, Trump is once again making it clear that he believes the U.S. needs to take control of Greenland. He's saying that this is about international security and protecting against Russian and Chinese influence in the Arctic. But let's be real. This isn't about security. This is about power, control, and resources. And people are starting to ask the obvious question: what exactly is Trump's endgame here? Rufus Gifford, who served as U.S. ambassador to Denmark under the Obama administration, pointed out the glaring contradiction in Trump's approach. He basically said, if this is really about security, why isn't Denmark being treated as a valuable ally instead of being undermined? And he's got a point. If Trump genuinely wanted to work with Denmark to secure Greenland, wouldn't diplomacy be the obvious route? Instead, we have Vance making inflammatory remarks about Denmark failing Greenland, and Trump hinting that the U.S. might just go ahead and take control. That's not diplomacy. That's a power grab. Let's talk about Vance's trip to Greenland. This visit was supposed to be about strengthening ties, but instead it turned into a direct attack on Denmark. He flat out said that Denmark has failed Greenland, which led to an immediate backlash.
Our message to Denmark is very simple. You have not done a good job by the people of Greenland. That has to change. And because it hasn't changed, this is why President Trump's policy in Greenland is what it is.
Denmark's Prime Minister, Mette Frederiksen, even had to step in and say that his comments were unfair and disrespectful. And now, in response to this political mess, she's planning her own visit to Greenland to do damage control. Now, here's the part that really matters: the people of Greenland. And guess what? They're not exactly jumping at the idea of U.S. control. In fact, many of them are speaking out against it. They don't want to be treated like a bargaining chip between world powers. Greenland has been moving toward greater independence from Denmark, but that doesn't mean they want to be absorbed into the U.S. And can you blame them? Trump's history with indigenous and native communities isn't exactly great, and his America First rhetoric doesn't suggest he has Greenlanders' best interests at heart. Let's not kid ourselves. This is about more than just military strategy. Greenland is rich in natural resources, including rare earth minerals, and as the Arctic ice melts, the potential for economic exploitation is growing. China has already shown interest in Greenland's resources, and now the U.S. wants to step in, but not necessarily for the good of the Greenlandic people. Trump isn't pushing this takeover for Greenland's safety. He's pushing it because Greenland is valuable.
Did you read anything into Vance's comment that Greenlanders will choose to become independent of Denmark? Would you expect the U.S. to somehow get involved in that choice?
I hope not. We have so many real national security threats to the United States of America that we don't need to be inventing fake ones. This is doing tremendous damage to our NATO ally, Denmark. NATO has been one of the key pillars of our national security for decades. So why are we messing around with this when we have real threats in the world to deal with today?
Now, let's flip the script for a second. Imagine if this exact situation was happening under Joe Biden. Let's say Biden's VP flew to Greenland, insulted Denmark, and started talking about taking over the island. Trump and every conservative media outlet would be screaming for resignations. They'd be calling it imperialism, globalist overreach, and proof that Democrats hate America. But because it's Trump and Vance, we're supposed to believe this is just a security concern? Come on. Greenland deserves the right to decide its own future without being bullied by global powers. Trump and Vance are treating this like a real estate deal, but it's not. It's people's lives, cultures, and futures at stake. And the fact that a former U.S. ambassador is openly questioning Trump's motives should tell you everything you need to know. So what do you think? Is this really about security, or is it just another power play? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Because Greenland's future should be in Greenlanders' hands, not Trump's.